Okay, Unit 6 review, technical math. This is the oral review. It's not one of the harder tests. Refer to the number line, give the direction positive or negative, and the number of units counted going from the first to the second number. So positive 6 to negative 5, so you're going negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was pretty tough. Okay. Now with decimals, obviously you're not going to be using number lines, so here's what you do. Then here, you do a subtraction. You take the number you end at minus the number you began at, 2.6. Negative 3.2 minus 2.6, it's going to be negative 5.8. Good. Okay, list each set of signed numbers in order of increasing value, starting with the smallest value. So you got negative 7.5, 0, positive 7.5, negative 2.3, positive 0.5, negative 2.3. Highest negative is your smallest, so negative 7.5. Next highest negative is negative 2.3. Next is negative 0.3. And then you have zeros in there. Okay. Then 0.5 and 7.5. Okay, now with fractions, I might recommend you go over the top and make those decimals. So 3 divided by 8. Now don't put 0.375, it's positive 4.375. Don't cross it out though. We'll cross out when we line them up. 7 divided by 8 is 0.875, so it'd be negative 12.875. And then 13 divided by 16, it would be negative 12.8125. And then negative 1/4 would be negative 0.25. Now my highest negative is okay, so I have two negative 12, so I got 8, 8, 7, 1, so that's your highest negative, so negative 12 and 7, 8, it has the smallest value. Then negative 12 and 13 over 16, that's out, that's out. What else do you have for negatives? Well, you have negative 6 and negative 0.25. Well, negative 6 has a smaller value than negative 0.25. Okay, then you have 0, that's there. And then the only positive I have is the 4 and 3/8. Okay, boom. I'm going to get some Mickey Mouse stuff. If you're at negative 7, you add negative 25, that's 25 units to the left, that's going to be negative 32. When you minus a negative 9, that's the same as adding 9, so negative 4 plus 9 is 5. Okay, plus 7 and 1/2, plus 3 and 1/6, whoops, 3 and 1/6. 10 and 2/3. Then if you have the subtraction operation, that's the same as plus negative. Negative 8.5 plus negative 40.33. It's negative 48.83. Okay, multiply and divide. Negative times 21. Multiply those, you're going to get a positive because you have an even number of negative factors. It's 18. Now you have an odd amount of negative factors. It's 1 over 27. Divide's going to be a positive, so we take negative 4, ABC4, ABC5, divided by negative 1, ABC2, ABC3. 2 and 22 25ths. For those of you who think this guy's a clown, he doesn't even know how to do it without the calculator. Oh really? Well, you know it's positive. Now you'll need to flip the second, but you have to write them in improper form, so it'd be 22 over 5. And that is going to be, as an improper fraction, that's 3 plus 2 is 5 over 3, but then we flip it to 3/5, okay? and then ends up as 66 over 25. And then that's what you get then as a mixed number. Okay, it goes in twice. There's 22 remaining. And wait a second, I do that right. Maybe I punched it in wrong. Could very well be. Nope, 2 and 22 25ths. Well, that's a problem. That's 24. Okay. So that's 72. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. I knew that wasn't right. That was embarrassing. 20 plus 4 is 25. 24. Okay. Negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. The answer is negative because you have an odd exponent, and that's 125. Now remember, if you have a negative exponent, you put a 1 over it, and now it's positive. So it's 1 over 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, negative exponent, 1 over. The exponent goes negative, the base does not, but it doesn't really matter because negative 7 times itself is 49, 1/49. Okay, the cubed root of negative 8 means what times what times what equals negative 8. Well, it obviously has to be a negative. It wouldn't be 1. Wouldn't be, yeah, I think it'd be 2, wouldn't it be? So the answer to that's negative 2. Okay, the cubed root of negative 243. What times what times what times what times what is negative 243? I don't think it's 1. Well, it has to be a negative because you ended up with a negative product. 2, I don't think so. How about 3? Yeah, it's 3, so negative 3. You can use a calculator if you want. 5 second caret, negative 243. There it is, okay. Now, don't divide that, okay? Well, you can if you want. I wouldn't do it. I would find out what the cubed root of negative 125 is, and then what the cubed root of 8 is. I'd find those separately, okay? So you know that's going to be a negative on top. It's negative 5. Then it's going to be 2 on bottom. Now, if the root is just over the top number, for example, okay? Let's say it would have said the cubed root of negative 125, but it wouldn't be around the 8, then the 8 stays put, and then that would just go to negative 5. But when it's around both of them, we evaluate both the roots, the radicals. Okay, story problems, not hard ones. The daily closing price net changes of a certain stock for 1 week are shown. What's the average daily net income? There's that word average. That means you have to divide by how many days there are. So 5, and you're going to add how many there are. So negative 2 and 2/3 plus 1 and 1/2 plus 4/5 plus negative 3/4 plus 4 and 3/4. I got 3 and 19/30. Now leave that on your calculator and divide it by 5. 109 over 750. I'm going to re-add that just to make sure I'm right. So I'm having a bad night. I made some other videos too, and they were so bad I had to stop them and redo them. Okay, I got it right. Then I divide by 5. 109/50. 109 over 150, excuse me. Okay, an hourly temperature report in degrees Celsius is given. So 12, 1, those are your PMs and goes up directly. What's a temperature change for each time listed? Change is a subtraction problem, but you take the end minus the beginning. So the 7 p.m. minus the 3 p.m. So at 7 p.m. ended at negative 0.6, and at 3 p.m. we were at 7. So it's negative 0.6 minus 7. Okay, and that's going to be negative 7.6, which makes sense because if you're at 7 and you go to negative 0.6, you dropped by 7.6. Now remember, it's the end minus the beginning. Okay, so 5 p.m. is 5, 1 p.m. is negative 3, so that's 8. Okay, that makes sense because when you go from negative 3 to 5, you're increasing, you'd increase by 8. Okay, number 21. During a 7-year period, a company experienced profits some years and losses other years. Annual profits are positives, losses are negatives. What's the average annual profit or loss for the years listed? 1995. Now you got to read this average. That means divide by. So how many years are from 1995 to 2000? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then you add all the numbers from 95 to 2000. Okay. So 50,000 plus 250,000 plus negative 120,000. Remember, you stop at plus 200,000. Plus 45,000 plus negative 250,000. 175,000. Now divide that amount by 6. Remember, you have to add 6 things together before you can divide. Okay, you can round it to the nearest hundredth. 29166.67. Positive. Okay. Okay, 1994 to 1997, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we would divide by 4. Then you add 4 numbers together for those years. Negative 20,000. Now divide that by 4 and you're going to get negative 5,000. Okay. Okay, scientific notation. Remember, decimals here, you can only have 1 digit in front, can't be a 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 2.76 times 10. You moved it left, so it's positive 6. Okay, now the decimals here, but you have 1 digit in front, but it can't be a 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's 4.5 times 10. I moved it 6 places right, so it's negative 6. Okay, now you're taking scientific, get them into decimal form. I would just take calculator, because it would move 7 forward. Commas if you want. 24,700,000. That's why scientific notation takes that big number and abbreviates it. 5.423 times 10 to the negative 5th. Now the number's going to shrink. 0 point and then 4 zeros. 5423. By the way, in word form, that would be 5,423 tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millionths, 10 minutes, 100 millionths, 5,423 100 millionths, but I don't need to do that, obviously. Okay, solve the following expressions given in scientific notation. Okay. So what you want to do is split up the problem. You take 5.32 times 5.42 and then you take 10 to the 4th. We're not doing 28, 29, cross those out. That's a stupid thing anyway, okay? So 5.32 times 5.42, and then we take 10 to the 4th times 10 to the negative 8. Okay, so take 5.32 times 5.42, and that's going to be 28.83. You can write the whole thing if you want. You're going to end up rounding it anyway. And then when you're multiplying, you just add the exponents. So 4 plus negative 8 is negative 4. But that's not, the decimal's not where it needs to be. You have 2 digits in front. You can only have 1. So it's going to be 2.88. And you moved it once to the left, so you add 1 to your exponent. So 10 to the negative 3rd. Remember, if you move it right, you would minus from the exponent. Okay, then finally, 2.73 times 10 to the negative 3rd times 4.08 times 10 to the 6th, and then 1.05 times 10 to the 4th, and then 7.55 times 10 to the negative 6th. So I break it up, 2.73 times 4.08, and then on bottom you got 1.05 times 7.55. Then on top you have 10 to the negative 3rd times 10 to the 6th, and then 10 to the 4th times 10 to the negative 6th. Okay, so we figure out our standard number, 2.73 times 4.08, 11.1384. I take 1.05 times 7.55, 7.9275. Then I divide. I get 1.41. If you want to write all that out, but the decimal's in the right place, so I'm just going to go nearest 100. Now you're going to add the ones on top together, and that's 10 to the 3rd. Add the ones on bottom, and that's 10 to the negative 2nd. Then you get rid of the one on bottom and then subtract negative 2 from the top. But 3 minus negative 2 is plus 2, which is 5. So 10 to the 5th. FYI, engineering notation, there's a reason I skipped this. It's pretty dumb, okay? I'm going to cover it briefly. I'm not going to put it on your test, okay? Engineering notation means you move the decimals, but you move it in increments of 3, okay? You need between 1 and 3 digits before the decimal, okay? 1 and 3, instead of just limiting it to 1 digit, it can be between, it can have 1, 2, or 3 digits. So you move them by 3s though. So right now you got too many digits. So 1, still too many digits. There. Now there's 1 digit. That's between 1 and 3. So it'll be 1.75 times 10. You moved it left, so it'll be positive 6. Okay. Then here, remember you need either 1, 2, or 3 digits. So 3. Don't have any, can't be 0. Don't have any, okay. Now you have 2, so it'd be 32 times 10, and you moved it 9 places, and you moved it right, so it'd be negative. Okay, that's how engineering works. I didn't figure it was worth spending a whole lesson on it. Okay. Again, you move it in increments of 3, okay, in groups of 3. And you can, it can be between 1, 2, or 3 digits in front of the decimal. You're not limited to just 1, but it has to be either 1, 2, or 3. See, this ended up with 2, and that's okay in engineering, okay?